Hi everybody, in this video I am going to give you some hints on how to write the activeDays method. So before we do that, let's take a look back at the original problem. ActiveDays, it returns the number of active days. So as you may recall, let's say I had 9,000 steps, which is not considered an active day because we need this number of steps or more than that, 10,000. 5,000 is not considered an active day, so active days is going to return 0 because there were no active days. But if you have a day where it's 13,000 steps, which since it's greater than the value that we saw in the constructor, which is 10,000, 13,000 is greater than 10,000, so this is considered an active day. So active days will just return 1 for the number of active days that I have had so far. Let's take a look at this problem. Active days is an accessor method. It just returns the number of active days for the user. So the method itself is actually not going to have a ton of code in it. Remember, reference the triangle worksheet if you need some hints on how to do mutator and accessor methods. One thing that you may notice when you're writing active days is upon writing this method, you will probably need to add an additional data field. So please keep that in mind as you're doing the problem. Now, the method itself is actually not that hard to write. It's just trying to figure out what to do with this value. So active days is the number of active days for the user. So the more difficult part is strategizing how you would figure out the number of active days that you have had. So how would you figure out the number of active days? So I would suggest to think about this and not try to read the answer first. I will go over the answer in 3, 2, 1. So remember that in order to figure out that, there's a minimum number of steps needed for your day to be considered active. Where did you find that? Well, that was when we did our constructor call. Let's look at this bullet point. Each day you take a certain number of steps. This number must be at or above the minimum number of steps needed for an active day. So, when I'm doing these method calls, see the 9,000, I need to see if this is at or above 10,000, which is that number in the constructor. I need to see if this 5,000 is above the 10,000 here. So this is when you can figure out whether this is an active day or not, and possibly change active days as a variable as you figure out whether or not this is an active day. So one big hint to you is the following. You will probably calculate the number of active days in a different method. So think about it. Which one of the methods do you think I will calculate active days? Will I calculate it in the constructor, add daily steps, active days, or average steps? Now, I already told you that it's probably not going to be calculated in active days, so that narrows it down a little bit. But think about that as you are doing the problem. That's pretty much it for the hints on this accessor method. Please watch the other videos for more hints and solutions. Thank you.